Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing my out-of-box review for the HG Build Fighters Leopard Da Vinci. So this kit is named after the Renaissance artist and scientist Leonardo da Vinci, but personally I don't find any sort of resemblance. I think it certainly lacks a lot of the artistic and scientific genius that the namesake was. But I don't know, I'm going to try to hold off most of my opinions until the end of this video because I have very kind of mixed and not really too sure opinions about this kit, so I just want to keep that till the end. I'll just give you guys just the review of it first and then kind of tell you what I think about it personally. It's definitely one of the these days, a lot of the kits that I've built recently, I either have an opinion one way or the other. Either I really like it or I don't really like it that much. This one I still don't really know what to think about it, so I'll just go over the review first. So anyway, the mobile suit, the Gundam itself, is obviously going to be very, very simple, as it's very reliant on its weapons, which it has quite a few of. You're going to first notice a lot of those ports around on the side and back of the Gundam. On the front, nothing really there, it just looks pretty usual, but you can see there on the shoulder there's one, leg there's one, the backpack there's one. There's actually two, one's covered up by a little cover there, so I'll talk about that in a moment. So yeah, this kit is going to be relying very heavily on its accessories and how you want to accessorize it. So there's lots of different options, and you can even use a lot of stuff that doesn't even come with this kit, of course. As far as the stickers go, there really aren't too many. The majority of them are just the normal ones on the head, the camera on the front and back, the eyes, a couple cameras on the weapons, and then here on the chest, that big red circle there is just a sticker. I really wish that would have just been a red part, but you know. So anyway, let's turn this off and get a nice up-close view. Okay, so starting off with the head, it's just on the very standard HG polycap in there, so it's just got a little bit of movement front and back, side to side, like so. Another sticker I forgot to point out is that gray part on the side of the head. That's a sticker that just wraps around that part of the head mold. So we've got those gray stickers on both sides. The one for the orange eyes, the orange on the front camera and back camera. And that's it. V-fin, I did get rid of the flag on the end of the V-fin like most HGs. It did have a little flag on there, just clipped and sanded that. So that's all pretty normal. Here on the body, this was one thing that really disappointed me about the kit. I was really hoping that these dark parts were able to like flip up and there'd be some missiles inside there. Even if it's just like the missiles are just molded into this green body piece and like not a separate piece to paint separately, I would have been fine with that. But this doesn't move up at all. The Leopard Gundam, which this is based off of, has missiles in the chest. So I was really hoping that this was going to have that as well in this section, because it looks like these are it's definitely supposed to open up for them to be missiles in there. If you wanted to modify the kit to have that, I think it wouldn't be too very hard. I mean, it wouldn't be like super simple, but you could definitely do it if you wanted to. That being said, I guess you could do that with probably pretty much anything if you wanted to, but it's just something that I think would be a cool mod to make if you were going to be modifying, customizing this kit, I think. In the torso anyway, there's not really a whole lot of motion. We get a little bit back like that, but that is about it. Forward, it's not really going to be much. I think it's kind of made more to go back. And then side to side is a little bit, but again, not too much. Here on the backpack, I want to point it out now before I forget, is that the backpack is able to turn like that, and I guess that was on purpose. See, it's only got one little plug there. It has the ports for two if you wanted to use a different backpack on this. I'm guessing that that's on purpose because they wanted to be able to give you options if you wanted to have things plugged in on the top and or bottom rather than on the sides. So I'm guessing that that's why they did that. As I mentioned before, these are just like little caps here you can remove for plugging in more stuff. That was not easy to take out. Anyway, there's 2 ports there, so you can cover up the top one and use the bottom one, cover the bottom one and use the top one, or just leave the cap off and use both if you want to, or if you need to. I'm just going to use the top one for this review. For the arm here, the arm is having the same kind of polycap that swings out, but instead of swinging out forward, it swings out backwards. So it's opposite from what we normally see, so that's kind of interesting. I think it's so that it can swing its arms back farther to do a kind of more like shooting in all directions kind of pose with its weapons. So the arms are only going to go up about that much, and then let's see, sorry, the shoulders anyway. Let's move the arms up without popping out that shoulder. About like that. And then otherwise just very standard for the arms. They're quite nice just because they're really thin. To me they look really thin and long, the arms, and then just a double joint in the elbow is going to give us a very nice bend there. And if you'll notice, the wrist is very odd looking. That's because it has an extra joint there. So we get an extra joint that is able to move the wrist forward and back like that. Again, it's to improve its ability to hold weapons, I think. So that's nice that we have that extra hinge in the wrist there. Otherwise, it's just a ball joint, so it's going to act normally. It's just that extra hinge that we got there. For the front skirts, like usual, they're connected, but you can just cut them in the middle and separate those. Side skirts are just normal, and the back skirt is normal, as in it doesn't do anything at all. The legs are very normal, so we can go over this pretty quickly. They're just going to spin at the top. Nice double joint there at the leg. Because the mobile suit itself is so minimal, I think the articulation is really, really nice. So in some areas, at least in like the arms and legs, yeah, it's very, very nice articulation there. I was gonna say comparable to the RX-78-2 Revive, but close, but still not quite comparable to that. That kit was just amazing. This one is really nice, but it's not like mind-blowingly amazing. The feet are able to go down about that much. It would be nice for a little bit of like toe movement there, but some pretty cool detail on the feet. I like the vents all around on the feet. That's pretty nice. And then forward, about like that. So pretty good. I mean, everything's pretty nice, and side to side just a little bit. So that is it for the articulation. We need to get into the accessories because that's where we have quite a lot of those. So let me set this down here and talk about the first thing. Okay, the first thing let's talk about is just the standard, well, it's not really standard, but I mean just a beam rifle. A standard as in, I guess what I meant to say was that it's like not anything too so out of the ordinary, because most kits come with at least a beam rifle. So we do have a beam rifle, a double barrel there, so I don't know if the lower barrel is maybe for a grenade launcher, something like that I would suppose, as it is larger and then attached to this drum at the bottom there, whereas the top one is maybe drawing from this ammo pack. I don't know exactly the specifics or the science of this particular rifle, but it is pretty cool, and we do have the sticker on there. I do like the look of it. As you can tell from the handle design, this is just going to go straight down into the hand, so no need to take the hand apart to put this in. You just drop it in, and it's good to go like that. So there's our rifle. Then we have these two double beam cannons, and these also have stickers on both sides, so these will be able to be used pretty much anywhere that they'll be able to plug in on the kit. So you can plug it here on the shoulder. I also forgot to mention that this part of the shoulder also moves up. That part where the port is on the shoulder is able to move, so there's that. You can also plug it in down here on the leg. I've never really been a fan of like beam cannons being attached to legs. The Mark V, the Mark III, I think, also uses these. I'm not really too much of a fan of that, but just the way it is anyway. So then I believe you're not really supposed to be able to do this, but I think the peg is a little bit long enough you could hold them in the hand. You'll have a little bit of trouble with it because the peg is just not quite long enough, but you could, I think, manage to do it if you just balance it just right, but it's not going to do it well. I think if you really want to hand hold these, you're better off just cutting off that peg and adding a new peg, just making a new peg from a piece of a runner that's longer, that'll be able to fit better in the hand. But as it is now, I think like you could pull it off, but barely. So I prefer those on the shoulders, so that's what I'm going to do. Like this. Something like that, and then when you're not using them, you can just have them down. Okay, and next we have these missile pods. So there are 2 big missile pods, and the doors do open on them, so that's a nice feature. You don't have to part swap anything. The doors open, we've got missiles inside, and the door opens on the other side. We've got missiles there too, so we've got missiles opening up on both sides. That's pretty cool. I definitely like that. These, again, of course, are able to be plugged in anywhere there on the kit. I prefer them on the legs, so that's where I'm going to put them for mine. I think those are much better suited for the legs because you can use them, and then once they're used, you can just expel them. And then I probably should have gone over this first, but we do also have 2 of these articulated arms. Okay, so very kind of similar to the GM cardigan. We just have these articulated arms that are just made up of a few pieces that are able to move pretty much every which way. And these are going to be able to use, I mean, anywhere on the kit. You could use them on the shoulders or on the legs, but I think they're probably best used for the backpack because plugging something directly onto the backpack is not going to be able to do much of anything. You need something like this to separate it a little bit. So plug those onto here. Okay, so these arms can hold these weapons, the double beam cannon and the missile pod, but as you'll notice, obviously it's 2 male ends, it's not going to work, but we can take off, the head, as well as this part, just take off the joint on the end there, then we can plug this into there, like that. So the arm is not going to be as long, not as articulated, but you are going to be able to use that if you want. So you could use that there, you could put the missile pods on there, whatever you want to do. Now let me take this back off without pulling the head off this time. What the arms, I think probably most people are going to use them for, and what they're primarily for is these giant Gatling guns. So we have 2 of these. They're exactly the same, there's no difference in them. No stickers or anything on here. They're actually just very, very basic in their design. I think it's basically just 4 parts, 2 pieces that sandwich together, and then 1 piece here on the end, and then 1 piece here on this end. That's pretty much it. So going to be some, there's another piece, sorry, there's a handle inside. So there is going to be quite a lot of seam to remove on these. The handle is not easy to get out. You have to either pull it up or just use something to press in there and flip out that handle. Then for these you will have to, of course, take the hands apart to put the hand around that. But these have a port on both sides, on the front and back, so you're going to be able to use those. Just plugging it in there and press that back together. Here on the back, like this, and then I'll put this one here, other way, like that, and there it is with all of its weapons, accessories on there. There's no other accessories, that's it. Should we have gotten a second beam rifle? I don't know, honestly that's enough of it on there. It's enough stuff with all of that stuff, but when you've got all that, hey, why not another beam rifle too? I don't know. But anyway, let's go ahead and put this up on action base now, and let's just take a look at it from there. Okay, now this is probably a pose that you guys were more expecting to see out of this kit, just all these guns and everything all blazing out there. I will admit it's definitely impressive. I think this is basically what you want out of a kit like this, that just has so much stuff in terms of all of these weapons slapped on all over it. But again, it is definitely going to be only for some. I know a lot of people really like the simplicity of some kits that don't really have a lot of stuff going on, but then some people like to just have like guns, as many guns as possible, guns all over the place. So it's definitely going to be just whatever your personal taste is, I think. So if this is something that's interesting for you, something that has just loads of weapons and lots of options, I mean, you could switch these around in lots of different ways, then this is going to be a kit for you. But if you're not really the kind of person that likes to have this much stuff going on, then yeah, it's not going to be as appealing. Okay, now here I've switched up some of the weapons and have the kit holding the giant Gatling guns there, using those secondary handles on those weapons, and then switched up the missile pods up onto the shoulders. And yeah, I mean, it's just another example of the versatility of this kit. In order to use these with the second handles, you need to plug in the mechanical arms onto the lower spot on the backpack. You can just turn the backpack around, or just take off these, which is what I did. But now in hindsight, I realize I should have just rotated the backpack around, and then I could have used the lower spots. But anyway, you have to do that in order to be able to make the arms to come low enough to go up under the arms of the mobile suit like this to hold that. So not really a big deal, but just to let you guys know about that. It says it in the manual anyway, or it shows it, or you should be able to figure it out. Another thing is that, I mean, there are a lot of pretty nasty nub marks on here on the kit, especially on the weapons. The weapons do feel sort of cheap when you consider that those are kind of like the big draw of this kit. The mobile suit itself, the Gundam itself, doesn't really have a whole lot of really bad seams or nub marks. The construction, the engineering of the Gundam itself is very, very nice. It's actually a really nice kit. The weapons, though, are a little bit of a different story. They do seem very HG weapon-ish, where it's used just very, very few parts, a lot of seams, and the nubs really aren't that great. It's very typical for an HG kit, but for an HG kit, that's kind of the main focus of the kit is the weapons. Then you kind of would think that they would have put a little bit more thought and time into making the weapons a little bit nicer for this kit. But of course, that would have drawn up the price of the kit a little bit. When you consider we're already getting quite a bit of plastic in here, but I think a little bit more would have definitely helped just to make this really shine. I think separating, especially these very, very large Gatling guns here, separating those into a few more parts I think would have been really nice, but it's just, again, something we kind of just have to deal with. The versatility of this kit, though, is going to be very unmatched. If you're the kind of person that likes having a lot of stuff on your Gundam, this kit is going to be great. I mean, even I haven't tried this until now, but now that I'm thinking about it, even you could plug in like these. I don't know how well it's going to fit, but let's give it a try. Yeah, there you go. You could plug in those double beam cannons onto the side of the giant Gatling guns. So, I mean, just lots of really cool stuff that you could do if that's what you like. So again, it's just all going to be about your own personal take, kind of how you want to do that. So yeah, let's give you one more pose and then I'll wrap up the review. Okay, so that's going to be just about it. Yeah, I don't know about this kit. There are things that I like about it and things that I don't like about it. I think the Gundam itself, the construction is really nice. It does have a lot of really cool parts there, just all the vents everywhere. I think it's really simple though, so that is going to be something that you're going to want to think about. Just the Gundam itself is super, super simple. I think just doesn't really have a whole lot of too much like flashiness or uniqueness about it, other than just like maybe a lot of the vents on the legs, the knees, and the back of the legs, the feet, like that. The Gundam is going to be a little bit plain, I think. The weapons is going to be the big draw of this kit, and as I said before, it's just going to be if that's just to your personal taste or not. So I don't know, I think this kit is definitely going to be one that it's going to be, if it looks like something you like, then you're going to love it. But if it looks like something you're not really going to be interested in, then there's not really any point in buying it for you. So it's definitely going to be polarizing in that fact that I think a lot of people are either going to definitely want it or just definitely not really care too much about it. Personally, I like it. I'm glad that I have it. I do actually want to do more work on it. I think that it definitely depends on the weapon combination. There are certain combinations that I just know that I wouldn't like, but the fact that you have so many options, you can definitely find something that you like. And even if you don't want to use all the weapons, like even if you only want to use half of the weapons on there, you can just donate the rest of them to some other kit for some other custom or something later on down the line. So just because you have that option definitely is something that's good as well. I mean, even if you don't use everything, then you've got, hey, more parts for other custom stuff. So that's about it. I think all I can really say about this kit. I would definitely recommend it. It's got some pretty good part separation, not a whole lot of stickers on there. There are going to be some parts that you're going to have to be hand painting or doing quite a bit of masking if you're going to be painting up this kit fully. But for an HG, that shouldn't be too surprising. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you have any other questions, comments about the kit, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next review.